How to complete a newsflash. Here's your newsflash checklist. You can see that the example that we're going to be reading about today will be amphibians. Your checklist will tell you all the steps that you need in order to complete your newsflash. Here is your new words chart. Your new words chart is a way to help you learn new vocabulary that you are reading in your newsflash article. It's really important that you make sure that you look up those words so that you have a better understanding of what you're reading about. In order to find the answers or the definitions to the two words that you come across, you can look them up in a dictionary or use dictionary.com. Those are the two easiest ways that I've found to use. You can see in our example the two words that I chose were moist and amphibian. Moist is defined as slightly wet or damp, and amphibian is defined as aquatic or land-living. Here's a shortened version of an example of a newsflash article that you might read. The first step is to make sure that you read your newsflash carefully and highlight the important information. Remember that you don't need to highlight the entire page. How would you know what was important in the things that you read about? As you can see in the example, I highlighted some important facts, information that I read about amphibians so that I could have a better understanding of what an amphibian is. After you have finished reading your newsflash, highlighted the important information, and found the definitions to your two new words, there'll be some questions that you'll need to answer. As you can see on the slide, there's some different kinds of questions that you might see after you've read your new article. Those are multiple choice, written, artistic would mean you'd have to draw something, and true and false. Here are some examples of some question types you might see. The multiple choice will have different answers that you can pick from, and the question example says, which of the following would you find in the amphibian group? Newt, salamander, frog, or all of the above? All of the above would be the correct answer, which is why it is circled. The written question is going to ask you something that you're going to have to write down an answer to. The examples asks, list two characteristics that help to describe a frog or a toad. And the answer would be they have no tails and squat bodies. Now that you've finished your newsflash, you've read the newsflash article, you've highlighted the important information, and you've found the definitions to your new words, and you've answered your questions, it's really important to make sure you go back and use the checklist. As you can see, I've marked up all the things that I've completed to make sure my newsflash is complete.